Hey, you guys.
Hello and welcome.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Justin.
And we are here for Fireside Chat with the Johnsons. We apologize about the little mix-up last night. It was Justin's fault.
Yeah, blame it on me. It's always my fault. Actually, you're cutting off the top of my head. Can you fix that just a little bit?
Is there something up there for people to see?
Oh, got jokes.
I wanted to show off. Hold on. I'm going to move this down. I want to show everybody I'm wearing my Let's Talk Cheer podcast shirt. Jason Larkins runs that podcast. He had a great episode today. He's one of the speakers at our upcoming conference. So I was super excited to wear that today. It just came in the mail yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Justin also has one. He'll be wearing it in a future week, but...
I did not get mine yet, obviously. See, we have this thing at my house where packages show up and Justin never sees them. They just get opened by Danielle, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, did you get your sweater? Did you get whatever I bought? No, I did not.
You will get it. Hey,
yes.
I did not take your dorky boat t-shirt. We got a boat, and Justin is trying to get every free bit of apparel he can from them.
I wear everything that's free. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the best stuff. Free is good.
So, guys, once you're on, say hello. Let us know you're here. I think there is quite the delay I'm seeing on my phone right now. So say hello. Tonight, we're excited. We're going to talk about what your customers actually want and how to read between the lines.
I don't see any chats on here at all.
That's because nobody said anything.
Oh.
Everybody is very quiet today.
Yes.
They're all just very passive.
But it is
I also got a free boat this way. I got to point this way. Also got a free boat mug. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you pay a lot of money for a boat, you get a mug and a t-shirt. See, that's how it works. You know, I have to admit, though, boats are like, they are kind of a waste of money. But.
Are you kidding me?
But you're paying for memories.
Do you know what memories Justin has so far? Because it's so cold in Missouri right now.
What do you got?
He goes out in the garage and he sits in the boat and plays music. And then all the rest of us are trying to sleep and we're like, this stupid boat.
We have Michelle Buckley says hello.
Hello.
Erica. Yeah. What's up, Erica?
Oh, you just talked to Erica today.
Just this morning.
Yay.
Sarah Walsh. Hello.
I've been talking to her all afternoon.
Oh, very cool. And then Anna Patterson.
Yes, hello. So,
And Danny Kahn's watching.
Great, hello.
I have to watch two different phones at the same time here.
It's too much for him.
I'm pretty multi-talented.
Yeah.
But,
so
what were you about to say?
Our normal Fireside Chat audience is on Monday nights, but we were not able to be on last night, so we just did kind of a quick switcheroo, and we're on tonight. So if you have never seen Fireside Chat with the Johnsons before, basically, we sit here and tell you all the things we're thinking about, but we also do have a good topic.
And we also indulge in beverages, so because it is a late night thing, and we're just chilling. So it's hidden within these cups is to your imagination. Actually, what do you got? Diet Pepsi.
Malibu and Diet.
Malibu, yeah. And I got some kind of rum in here. It's like, I don't know. It's good.
We were in Mexico last week. If you're wondering, like, how are they so tan? Holy cow, they look good. It's because we were in Mexico last week. So
yes.
We're having a hard time leaving Mexico behind. So the rum is here with us.
Yes.
It was pretty cool, actually. We took our staff.
Yes. Guys, that is it right there. And I'm going to tell a little story about this because this is something pretty interesting. I remember sitting in conferences back in the day listening to other people sit and talk about like how they took their staff to the Bahamas or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah,
it must be nice. You know, you just have this little thing like, that was, I don't know what it is, but it's just what it
jealousy.
It is. It's jealousy. That's exactly what it was. But I just sat there and go, you know, I live in a small town. There's no way that I could do that with my staff because you guys live in Dallas or, you know, some big city. That's the only way you can do that. But no, guys, we live in a small town and we took our staff, our full-time staff to Cancun. And you want to talk about retention? That is awesome.
Yeah.
We had the best. Actually, that was the best time I've ever had in Cancun was taking all of our staff and stuff. I mean, it's a bunch of people you know, and they're all out to have a good time. And you don't have to really do any business. The business was having fun. And business was good. That's what you were supposed to say right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to pull a picture.
We were in the business of having fun, and business was
good.
There you go.
I'm only like half listening.
Yes.
Okay.
Danielle's trying to pull up some pictures, so anyways.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'll just show you our staff. They had fun.
Yes.
We took our kids, who 2 of them are actually employed at the gym, and then our 3 full-time staff members also. Oh, well, you're in the way. There we go. Melanie, Lexi, and Patrick. We had our 2 foreign exchange students with us. We had this really, and then Angie and Dustin, who are our business partners, we had this really cool picture of all of us at Isla Mujeres. But
yeah, you just showed it just a second ago.
I didn't actually.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Anyways.
But it was super cool. We had an awesome time. Oh, I bet I know where Justin bought a stupid sombrero.
Yes.
Wore it through the airport. Looked like a nerd the whole time. But they had so much fun. There it is.
There you go.
So this is the crew that we went with. Justin, our son Connor, who coaches at the gym. Addie, who coaches at the gym. Lexi, who works there. She's like does all of our events, birthday parties, trial program. Gigi and Elise are foreign exchange students. Mel is the gym manager. Me, Angie is the business partner. And Patrick, who is our recreational program director. And then Dustin was taking the picture because we have another one where Dustin looks just like Angie, hand on hip and all. So yeah, that was our crew. And we had a ton of fun. And you know, the cool part about it is when your staff is there and your kids are there, you don't have to be on your phone a lot. So I was like probably on my phone the least amount of time that I've ever been on a vacation and on my phone.
And the neat thing about it is you spend a lot of time together at work, but when you spend a lot of time together in a resort like that and just chilling and talking and having a good time, you really learn a lot about everybody. And I feel like we all grew closer by being at a resort like that. It was just a lot of fun, no stress, just relaxation, having fun. Man, what a blast.
And if you guys are wondering if we closed the gym for the whole week, we did not. So we did kind of a modified schedule where like we have 11 different beginner classes, pared it down to about 3 or 4. And then people signed up for classes, which is what we do the week between Christmas and New Year's anyway. We did have 32 kids for full-time childcare throughout the week for spring break camp. And then, classes, teams did not have practice. Oh, and then we do 2 daytime playtimes a week and birthday parties and stuff like that. So our part-time administrative assistant, who's really close to full-time, who started last fall, actually pretty much ran the gym while we were gone. She said she had 86 kids at daytime playtime.
Yeah.
So.
But the neat thing is about this, we planned it a year in advance. So we planned it last year, and we've been kind of counting down the days until we went. And what a blast. It was just so cool. We have a few comments out there. Anna Patterson said, boat equals belt out another 1,000. There's one for Harley too, like $100. You're never gonna walk out of there without spending $100. April says hello.
Hello.
April Higgins. That's so exciting. Hashtag goals.
Yeah.
That's goals.
It was awesome.
Yeah. We got Julie is watching, Julie Ledbetter, and we got Glenn Kingsbury. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so real quick, you guys, we always start Fireside Chat with good news. My good news is that I was in Mexico.
My good news, I went to Mexico and didn't get burned.
Oh yeah, I didn't burn either.
Yeah, I got the darkest I've ever gotten in Mexico.
I don't know if you can see this, but he's got freckles. Like he's like a freckly. There's a hidden redhead somewhere inside of him.
Yes.
Do you want me to show this arm because it's more tan?
No, put it next to yours. We're doing the test.
I'm still more tan.
Whatever.
His are just freckles. If I splattered a bunch of dirt on myself, we would look the
Stop
same.
it. My mom said those are angel kisses, so stop. You don't even know.
Are you kidding me?
Nobody messes with my mom. My mom said,
I gotta tell you, did you see your mom's comment? I put like the pictures of your sombrero and your mom was like, just wait until it's on your fireplace mantle. And I'm like, that is exactly where you put it and it's not staying.
oh, hey guys, our fireplace mantle, I put it like some 15 feet in the air so she can't get it down.
I don't know anybody else that has a really nice Pinteresty like living room or kitchen, but he puts the stupidest things up. And then I can't get them down because anyway. So that's my good news. Guys, if you guys have any good news, make sure to post it in the comments. Because we would love to hear good news that you guys have.
Are you crying?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about how I used to have a like Pinterest-worthy living room, and now my living room looks like a man designed it.
No, for real. We went shooting one time, and there was zombie pictures that you could get to shoot at. As a joke, I hung them on the walls in the living room. They've been there like 3 months now. We have zombies with holes in them.
I actually feel like if I take them down now, we're going to do a tour of our living room one day. I feel like if I take them down now, like what's going to go on the wall?
It's true.
Anyway.
It adds flavor. It's flavor of life.
Okay, Justin, it is time to get started.
Yeah, let's get this.
We've lost 2 viewers because they don't care about our living room.
They don't care.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what do customers actually want and how to read between the lines. So step number 1, when somebody is, I'm sorry.
This is good stuff. This is this is good though. Read between the lines. Go ahead.
When somebody is talking to you, step number 1, ask the person to put a fact to the feeling. Don't actually say, hey, put a fact to that feeling for me. Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say that.
But ask about specific actions that support their feeling. So, for example, has anybody ever had a parent say, I feel like sometimes my daughter is just pushed to the side a little bit. Like she's just not very important, right? Like the coaches are just sort of dismissing her. I've had this before, and the specific thing that I asked them is, can you tell me what happened specifically? Like what actions were taken that made her feel that way or that made you feel that way? And when you find that out, usually you find there's more to it. Maybe she has some insecurity issues. Maybe they didn't like how the coaches were talking to the kids. Maybe she feels really not important in the routine, stuff like that. But instead of mom saying she's insecure, the tone of voice is harsh for her, and she's a front spot, she doesn't feel super important, and you took her tumbling out 3 months ago and she's still upset about it. Instead of the mom saying those 4 things, mom says something like, I feel like my daughter is pushed to the side. So the only way to actually solve problems is to get to the root of them. And a lot of times, parents just aren't able to get to the root of it themselves.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Oh, you had nothing to add to that?
Well,
Did I do that good?
No, you did really good.
Okay, thanks for joining us tonight.
I mean, there's not more that you could add. What makes you feel that way? What has happened? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like when they say, she doesn't feel like she is very important on this team. Like, I get that a lot from front spots, kids who have to nugget during parts of the routine, kids who maybe you have most of the team has their tumbling, but 1 or 2 of them don't. I got this once. I had a girl who was like a junior in high school, and she could barely do a back handspring. But she was this great back spot. And mom just said, I just feel like she's not super important in the routine. So tell me what elements of the routine you feel that she's underutilized. Those are the kind of questions I ask, because now you get down to fact, right? So mom can't say stunting. She can't say tumbling because her daughter doesn't have the tumbling. Like, there's areas like that. So if a mom says to you, well, she's not in jumps. Like, hey, let's set a goal so that she can improve her jumps. And I'm telling you right now, if she gets really good jumps, we're going to put her in jumps. So you can create a solution by figuring out what is the actual problem.
Absolutely.
How about this one? I talked to somebody in the last couple days, and she did a meeting with the parents, and the parents said, sometimes the coaches pick on my daughter. Like, I feel like they're picking on her. Okay.
Pointing her out. Always saying her name. Yep.
Yeah. So my question
to that. It happens.
It's
usually my kid, to be honest.
What do you mean? It is your kid. I coach her. I pick on her all the time.
Yeah. I don't ask the question, though. I'm like,
why are you looking at me that way?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't say that to my kid, but I mean, I do, but not at practice.
Anyways.
So coaches are picking on my daughter. What specific actions make you feel that way? What kind of things are the coaches saying that are making you feel like they might be picking on her? So I had this with someone on one of our teams about a month ago, and the mom said she just feels like she's picked on all the time. So I said, okay, can you give me some specifics? Like, What things are done or said to your daughter that makes her feel like she's picked on? And the mom said, well, you know, it feels like there's other kids not getting corrections at all, but she's getting a lot of corrections. Like, okay, so she is in every stunt. She's in every tumbling section. She's in jumps. She's in every part of the routine in a pretty serious role. She's probably going to get more corrections than the other kids because it's hard to get a correction on just nuggeting, right? Or standing clean. Like, you're just going to get more. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, also, you know, there are 50 different things I can fix in a stunt, but I'm going to go with the one that makes the greatest impact. Because if I make a correction and a correction and a correction and a correction and a correction, the kids aren't going to be able to implement all of those at the same time. So if I can make a big correction that makes a big impact, that makes a big impact on the routine. And the mom's like, oh, well, she is the main base. I guess I didn't think about that. Well, there you go. So it's not that parents are being rude when they say they're picking on a kid, you know, a coach is picking on a kid, but you have to pare it down to like, what are they actually saying, right? And educate the parents through that.
And sometimes the parent only hears their kid's name. They don't really pay attention to other kids' names. And so, you know, it's like when you're driving a Ford Focus and all of a sudden start noticing all the other Ford Focuses around. It's just you're focused in on just your kid. So I like what you said because it's a different perspective.
Yeah. I actually have a team that I coach that they're senior athletes, and one of the parents said, hey, I'm going to spill the beans. They all think that you have a favorite on the team. I'm like, really? And I have a co-coach on this. And I said, who do they think is my favorite? And so they said it, and I busted up laughing. Like, not to the parent, but like later, talking to the other coach. It's Mel, our manager, and I busted up laughing, and Mel goes, man, I heard that kid's name more than anybody's last night because you had the most corrections for her. I'm like, I know, she must be my favorite because I'm making all the corrections for her. So, yeah, it's funny. The parents hear their own kid's name, but not always the rest. So, get to the fact, the action that's specifically being taken, not just the feeling that the parent is having. That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, some of you guys are not going to agree with me on this.
Ooh, I like it. We got controversy.
Drama.
Controversy. This is like The Bachelorette or The Bachelor.
We just got done watching that.
Stop it.
The Women Tell All.
Women Tell All. Danielle Tell All.
Number two, ask the person, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Because what it's going to do is they're going to tell you how they want to see it fixed. So, I'm angry you took my daughter out of the air. She's a flyer. You took her out of the air. Right? This is common. Anytime you pull a flyer out of the air, you can basically expect you're going to have an angry parent. Wrong?
No, not wrong.
Yeah. So a parent is angry you took their daughter out of the air is the hypothetical thing here.
Right.
What would you do in my shoes? By asking this, you're going to find out what areas you maybe missed. Could you have told the parent 3 months ago that you were already recognizing that maybe she didn't have the stability, she lacked the balance, she wasn't taking the correction, she lacked the flexibility, she wasn't strong enough? Could you have told her a couple months ago?
She didn't show up on time 3 times.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Could you have told her a couple months ago that that was the case, given her homework, and then given her a chance to improve? 99% of the time when we take flyers out of the air and the parents are upset about it, it's because they didn't have a heads up and they didn't get a chance to improve before you took them out of the air. So by asking a parent, what would you do if you were in my shoes? You're going to find out the steps that you missed. Now, be humble, because legitimately you're going to find out the steps you missed. I was talking, I'm going to call her out actually. I was talking to April today. We were talking about her gym, and she's in the academy, and she said something that I was like,
hypothetical April.
No, real April.
No,
it's a compliment.
I'm just messing up.
She said something today that I was like, she's so smart. This is why April's gym grows. This is why she does so well in business. Because she made the comment, well, if you said that that's the case, then yeah, we need to think about that and we have some work to do. And it was something along the lines of communication during like a feedback session that the parents were like, wow, communication was great. And then a few minutes later, a parent was like, actually, we didn't realize that competitions run so late. Maybe you could tell us that in the future. And you know what? Like 99% of the people out there on ASGA or some other, I'm not supposed to say that, some other Facebook group would be like, are you kidding me? Competition runs till 10. That's not that big of a deal. Do you know what April said? She said, oh, you're right. We probably need to make sure that we figure out a way in the future to let new cheer parents know what to expect on competition day. We can do better about that. She said that to me, and I'm like, this is why this lady is going to kill it in cheer.
It's a sign of maturity.
It is.
And that you're never a know-it-all. You don't know everything, and it's always a learning curve. It really is.
And from August to March, when you grow by 100 athletes in your gym, as a small gym, that's how you know you're on the right track. And that's her.
Yeah.
So
good job, April.
Yeah. Good job.
Also, another April out there wrote, OMG.
Not the same April. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Said, OMG, my grandfather used to say the same thing too. By the way, the angels must love me. Those are these angel kisses all over. Melissa Sullivan says, can't wait to see you all soon.
Yay!
Yes.
See you this weekend.
April said, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And then Shelby, we got quite a few more people are out there. We got Lisa Hucks watching.
That's Angela.
Where Angela is watching. Yep. Shelby Swartz, got Morgan Ogden, and Dustin Wood.
Yeah. Welcome,
hello.
You guys.
Yes.
Welcome. Okay, so number 3 in what your customers actually want.
Reading between the lines.
That is not number 3, though.
I know.
That's the subtitle.
Yes.
Okay. Listen carefully and don't infer what the other person is asking or telling.
That's a tough one.
There was a post in one of our groups this week that was like some snapshots, and it was an email. We're casting into the coaches group right now as well, so I won't go too in depth, but it basically was a parent that just said, listen, I would like to see a breakdown of what we're paying in our competition fees. And there were a lot of comments on there.
What's the good answer for that one, Danielle?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to decide what is your philosophy as a gym, first of all, because I am pretty transparent with what you're paying. I've done that. I'm trying to remember when I did that. I did a presentation for the Academy once that was like, you can be 100% transparent, put it out on a spreadsheet. This is how much we're paying. This is parking, tolls, mileage, meals, all that stuff. You can be 100% transparent, put it out for coaches or for parents. That's what I do with end of season events like All-Star Worlds. Guess how many questions I had this year? 0 questions. Last year I did it also. I had 1 question from a parent, right? They know exactly what they're paying for. They see the breakdown. They understand we're not trying to make money off an end of season event. We have to get our costs covered, but that's not where I pull my profit from, is off All-Star Worlds. So anyway, her question, that's one option, be fully transparent. Option 2, offer partial transparency. Hey, here's the total cost, and here's what you're getting for it. This and this and this and this and this. Your coaches, their per diem is covered by federal IRS guidelines, the mileage, the whatever, hotels, everything.
Yep.
You can just create a list. You don't have to do a breakdown of the dollar amount.
Food and lodging. Yep.
The last option is that you just say, listen, you don't walk in Walmart and ask what their cost of a bag of chips was. This is what it costs. Take it or leave it. I'm going to tell you, you can say that. You have a right to say it. I understand why you might want to say it.
Yeah.
You're going to get animosity, and you're going to get a lot more issues from parents. So take the easiest possible road, which is explaining your expenses. The easiest possible road is the one that takes a little bit more time. So if you want to go with the one in the middle, totally fine.
Yep.
Here's what happens when people ask that question, though. Can I get a breakdown of fees? Here's what they're actually saying. They're actually saying, I want to make sure I can appropriately budget for this so that I'm not expected to shell out another $100 a month later. Okay. Let me explain. We probably have some gymnastics people in here. In gymnastics, we used to have a team, like USAG team gymnastics. Mm-hmm. The booster club ran the fees. So basically, they would go to a meet. The booster club would front it. The coach would be paid for. So the booster club would pay for his hotel. The booster club would pay his mileage, his per diem, all of that stuff. And they would pay for him to attend. Then they would gather all the receipts, and basically say there's 12 parents on this team who attended the meet, 12 kids who attended the meet. The cost was, I don't know, $840. So you have this much, and you have this much, and you have this much,
Divided
and you have
by
this
8.
much.
Yeah.
And that's how much they all owe after the fact. So that's how it works in a lot of sports. That's not how it works in our sports. We anticipate the expenses, and the parents pay them in advance. So we have to have some grace for people who've been in those other sports that don't see those things.
Oh, yeah. Well, what do you say to people with all-inclusive pricing?
As long as you've budgeted appropriately, I think it's totally fine. But I would also take that middle row of like, hey, here's the price that you're paying, and here's everything that's included in it.
Right.
So when we say coaches fees, here are all the things we're paying for.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm giving you the cost. So if that hotel skyrockets, if the gas prices skyrocket, if the IRS changes their mileage at the beginning of the year, your price doesn't increase. I'm going to take that off of my end. So it's how you sell it to people.
Shelby had made a comment. Just got done with night 2 of 15-minute parent consultations and loving this.
Yeah, good. We did those last month. I'm glad you're doing those.
April says, I saw that post, and if you want successful business, you need to educate your parents. The answer isn't by Felicia. Giving parents a reason to be frustrated is not good for your business.
Agreed.
Anna Patterson says, I give a basic breakdown, hence competition fee is this much, and every child is charged an additional X amount for coach's time and travel. I haven't had any issues.
Yeah,
good. But it's being right from the front like that. So there are other places that don't break that down like that, and it leaves to question. Mm-hmm. And when one person starts to grumble about it, they talk to another parent, and eventually somebody comes up and asks the question. And so it could be 2 or 3 parents that are asking the question, and one was just the one that would come up and ask.
But they're not asking.
Yep.
They're not asking anything bad. They're saying, "Can I get a breakdown of fees?" And what they're really saying is, "I want to make sure I can appropriately budget for this as a parent." Second option that they might be trying to say, their hidden words behind it,
right,
is, "I want to make sure you're taking care of your staff." Maybe they have reason to believe that your staff is not covered in their expenses. Maybe they see staff members eating, like, literally we could pay Patrick his per diem and he would probably cheapskate his way through half of the things. It's just his life. It's how he is. He's like, it's just how he is. Not meals. He would buy full meals.
No, he'd buy a full meal.
But there are certain things, I mean, if he has to walk 3 blocks, but he doesn't park in the parking garage and it saves him money, he'll do it. It doesn't mean we're not covering their parking, but you also have to have some grace that parents may be looking out for the coaches. And heads up, you want them to look out for the coaches, right? If there's something you were missing, you want to know that you're missing that. Or if a coach is being mistreated by a parent, you want another parent to step in and say, "Hey, calm down for a second." Okay?
Well, I mean, just using Patrick as an example, somebody might question was, we flew direct. We found a flight to fly direct to Cancun. He found
also for Christmas, hold on, and let me also say, for Christmas, we gave them a gift card to Southwest so they could book this flight.
Yeah, but anyways, he found a little bit cheaper flight and had a layover in, I don't know, Dallas or something. Denver or something. But anyways, but you would question that, like, well, how come we didn't travel with you? Did you guys put him on Spirit and send him over halfway across the country to go down?
Next time I will.
But no, it's just everybody's got their own little things of saving a little money or doing something differently. So.
But parents are looking out for the coaches sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's not bad. If you're doing everything you should be doing, parents are going to find out or recognize that you're treating your coaches well, and you're reimbursing them for the expenses that are justified, and they're going to think higher of you for simply doing that. Third thing, I have a few on this because
this is a big
it was a big one. Third thing on this, they might just be uneducated, right? When my daughter did swim, it was a nonprofit organization. I paid $0 in coaches' fees. I went on USA Swim site. I registered her for the competition, and I paid $0 for the coaches to go up there. Take their time, their mileage, their meals. I know they had hotels 1 or 2 of the days. I paid $0 for it. It was just the nature of that sport. I had a parent last year. Remember I said I had one question with my breakdown last year? He said, why am I paying for airport parking? Why don't you guys just get a ride to the airport? Fair question. I said, there's 14 of us. That would be an awful lot of cars in the middle of the day. It's not an option. And we're all coming back in delays and all that stuff. It's just not an option.
Right.
But he said, well, when we do travel baseball, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we don't pay for any of this.
Comparing.
Right. And I said, so are your coaches for travel baseball, are they paid coaches? He said, no, they're volunteers. So there you go. So it's just different. It's a different sport. Soccer, swim, baseball, gymnastics, all different than cheer. In fact, even dance. I don't know of a single sport that's exactly how cheer is. So you really just have to educate people. They don't know. So yeah.
I think gymnastics would be the closest, really, with a coach going with a team.
Yeah, like we blew their minds the last year we had team gymnastics and we ran it like cheer, and like some of the parents liked it. The booster club really liked it because they didn't have to do anything. But you know, there were a few parents who didn't. They were like, we want to see the receipts and be able to just pay them out afterwards. The parents who did like it were the ones that were like, hey, we hate having to pay $84 this time and $160 this time. We like the consistency, and you guys are going to eat it if you are wrong. So, you know.
So don't be wrong.
Yeah.
Anna says, I noticed that many that over question things are due to personal financial reasons.
So,
it's
Anna.
Like, almost like, Anna, like you see our notes here. This is good.
It's like you got into my Google Drive somehow,
yes.
And you saw point number 4, which is consider the timing of the words that they're saying.
Yeah.
Guys, do you have any parents right now saying the sport is just too expensive? Because if you're like my parents in my gym, you just paid your first set of All-Star Worlds fees. You have your second set due in about 14 days. Then you're going to travel to All-Star Worlds. Then you're going to come back and you're going to, well, you don't have a new uniform this year, but in some gyms you might have a new uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to start paying your sets of assessments all over again because I have to pay for choreography. All of this is coming and unfolding.
Oh, by the way, there's a new packet out
months.
for next season.
Yeah.
So you're already signing up for next season. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And I have a really cool subscription box that your kid is begging for. So, like, think about the timing of the statement. If parents are saying it's too expensive, maybe they have these things that are layered on top of one another. I had a parent tell me this week, you know, we do travel stuff together, and our kids go to the same camps, and she just said, yeah, I was expecting a tax return, and for the first time in like 12 years, we're not getting a return. We have to owe. She's like, it's super weird. But her husband had a recent job change. And I'm like, I can understand if you were a parent who had that statement.
Yep.
I would understand that now. But parents aren't always going to tell you, hey, financially, it's a little tight right now. Not everybody would say that. In fact, I probably would not be somebody to say that. So.
Because money is taboo.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, I don't know about that. I just don't know that I would.
Saying most people, it's not something.
As a parent, I would probably ask the questions, but I don't know that I would ever say like, "Oh, it's just a little tight right now. I can't do that right now." So if they're saying the sport is too expensive, consider the timing of the statement. Okay, they may not be saying the same thing in December, you know, when fees are paid and all that stuff. Number 2, do they have circumstances within their lives that they're forced to be out of live beyond their means? We had a family a couple years ago that I can't remember the circumstances exactly, but like she was cheering, but they were living in a camper in their garage, and they were waiting for their house to be built, but they were living in the camper and having to pay out of pocket for a lot of the expenses for the house to be built. That was never their intention, but every time you talked about money, you just saw mom's face like, yeah, right?
Tight budget, yep.
So the timing of the statements and them saying, hey, this sport's really expensive is going to be tough.
Yep. We had somebody just say, hey, Tracy from Prong is watching. Hello. April just said most people won't tell you if money is tight. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other end of this is, you know, maybe money is not tight, but you get somebody who just says, cheer is like really expensive. Maybe they're not seeing the value in it.
Yeah.
So there are times that they won't see the value because their kids are not progressing. They are not seeing the value because maybe their kids are bored on the team. Maybe I don't know, I had a whole bunch of ideas here.
Or
But
they just personally don't see the value in it. Maybe it's an education part on what they're getting at a cheer. Maybe reading between the lines. Show them it's not cheerleading that they're getting here. They're actually, it's actually social skills, friendships. What are you writing over here? You're writing stuff.
I got an idea for a fireside chat. Have we ever done one on how to win over the dads?
No.
Oh, because I think we're really good at that at our gym.
Yeah. It typically, I don't know what to say typically, but a lot of times it is. You know, you want to get both spouses on board, and a lot of times there's only one spouse at times, and it's tough.
If
It's
that would
really
be a
tough.
helpful topic for anybody, give
Yeah.
me a thumbs up, because it is when the dads don't come into the gym very often. We used to have families back in the day before we put a lot of effort into winning over the dads. We used to have a lot of families that they're like, yeah, her dad just does not, he thinks this is just way too expensive. And it's because dad wasn't on board.
He's not sold on it.
He's not
Yeah.
sold on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the value of flipping?
Right. So, are you fully selling the value of what the child is getting beyond sports? Are you selling the value of, oh my gosh, I just had a conversation with a parent earlier. Literally, the conversation went like this. When we told the team that they may be missing a couple teammates for All-Star Worlds, they gave that really sad look for a second. And then the very next thing you know, they're like, okay, what do we need to do to get this routine together? These are like, my youngest is 8, my oldest is 12 on that team. I was like flabbergasted that they all like band together so quickly. They gave their teammates who can't go a hug, and they're like, oh, man, we're really sad. Okay, what do we need to do? Like, those are life skills that they're learning that have nothing to do with skills. So when you can tell a parent, like, I was so impressed at her determination, you're selling them on the life skills, not just the, on the mat skills.
So Lauren Erickson says, yes, please. So many dads that are not supportive of cheer.
Girl, what time is it where you are? Shouldn't you be sleeping? Maybe not. I'm not very good with time zones.
But for real, it is tough to get the dads on. But once they're on, they're on. Like, they're the ones wearing the crazy hair.
I'm not gonna give
makeup.
Stop talking. You're gonna basically give away the next fireside chat. However, you know who was not on board? This guy.
Yeah.
My daughter will never be wearing a sports bra. Mm-hmm. You all say that in the beginning.
No makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I used to say that one
Yes,
too.
he did. Yes, he did. Okay, so quick recap. We've got one more on here. Quick recap. Number 1, ask the person to put a fact to the feeling.
Yep.
So an action. How, describe. I'm sorry, I was distracted because Lauren said it's the middle of the day. Okay, great. Put a fact to the feeling.
Yeah.
Describe what actions took place that made you feel that way. Number 2, ask the person what they would do if they were in your shoes. You're not going to like all their answers. It'll also tell you how educated they are, because if they have some really dumb ideas, you understand that they are not very educated about cheer. There you go.
Absolutely.
Number 3, listen carefully and don't infer what the person is asking or telling you. When I say infer, there were some statements on there, or I think it was the original poster, not statements, but the original poster was like, listen, I don't even pay myself. Like, we take care of our coaches. Not even all of our coaches are paid. I'm not taking money from the gym. I think that was an initial gut reaction of like an inference that this mom is inferring that I'm like mishandling money. But I don't think she was. I think the mom was just asking the question of breakdown of fees. So be careful about not letting that emotion take over and inferring. And
making it personal.
Right.
Taking it personally too. Like, yeah.
Right.
Because somebody could really take that personally very quickly. Like, you're mishandling.
Totally.
The money that we pay you.
But if you take that step back and you just read it with like a clear mindset, I think it's easy for somebody else to read that. I'm totally detached from the situation. I was able to read that and say, oh, I don't think this mom is saying that. I think she's just asking the question.
What's that book called? Extreme Ownership?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that one is a good reference for this type of stuff. When people have questions, it's because you didn't communicate enough.
Yeah.
You didn't communicate correctly, or you can find a better way to communicate it.
Yeah, that I think the last part is.
Yeah, but anyways, continue.
It's now your opportunity to educate somebody.
That's a good book to read, though. Extreme Ownership.
Book.
Boy, that one's fantastic. Oh, it's incredible. Fantastic. Super.
I wasn't sure what word you were going with.
I'll go with super. Super book.
Okay. Number 4, consider the timing of their statements. You actually have no idea what's going on in their life. So maybe the timing was just bad and
Absolutely.
they're kind of making these statements because there's issues with money or timing itself. The final one, number 5, listen to what they're not saying. So sometimes people will say something because they're avoiding saying something else. So has anybody, like, give me a thumbs up or an angry face or something. Give me an emoji that'll fly across the screen if you've ever had someone tell you, we're going to take a year off and focus on tumbling. We're going to take next season off, and she's going to do tumbling classes and get caught up, and then we'll be back the following season.
What are they not saying?
I think we're going to see the emojis go this way.
While they're thinking of that, I've got, I see emojis rolling. We have a few things here. So Lauren said, yes, please, on the dads. April says, learning to work with others and problem solving are 2 of the big things they learn. Lauren says it's 12:41, middle of the day.
I just saw that.
Letitia said, first season, but our dads are so involved and opinionated. And we love it. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
LaPortia. Hey, what's going on, LaPortia?
Hello.
I can't wait to start the academy. So much amazing information.
Yes.
I'm excited for you to start.
I am too.
It's going to be awesome.
Superstars. Did I say it right?
How did you know that?
I know that.
She's got the greatest memory. But
I do have good memory. Okay, so I saw all kinds of emojis go through.
Yes.
Here's the deal. Nothing drives me more crazy than when somebody says they're going to take a year off to focus on tumbling, because every cheer coach out there is like,
yep. What are we doing?
Focusing on tumbling alone. Two things. Focusing on tumbling alone is not going to level you up. Just because you get a back tuck does not make you a level 3. If your jumps are a level 1 and your dance skills are a level 1 and your stunting skills are a level 1, just getting a round off handspring tuck is not making you a level 3. So there you go. That's one part of the soapbox. Second part of it is, how many kids have actually done this and ever actually leveled up to the next level? How many have you seen in your gyms? Feel free to post the number. How many have I seen in my gym? 0.
But,
because when they, I'm sorry, I'll let you talk in a second here.
Go ahead.
Because when they sign up for tumbling, I'm still on a soapbox.
Yeah.
When they sign up, I'm preaching to the choir though.
Oh yeah.
When they sign up for tumbling and they have a choir concert, a band concert, they don't feel good. They want to ride their bike. Whatever, it's really easy to miss. But it's really hard to miss cheer. So those are 2 reasons. That's not what they're actually saying. No. But I needed to.
She needed to get that out, just vent that out. But between the lines, what are they actually saying, Danielle?
Okay.
When they're saying, I want to take a year off.
2 things. I've gotten to the bottom of this a couple times.
Yes.
2 things I think they're actually saying. One is, my child didn't progress enough this year. And by progression, I mean tumbling. Because I did my coffee and conversations about a month ago. Yeah. And when I asked 11 different teams.
And I'm foot stomping this. Coffee and conversations. If you're not doing them, how many times have we said that same thing?
I know.
Multiple times in this. Guys, coffee and conversations are really hard to do at first because it's hard to take truth, and have it just thrown in your face. But you need to do it, and it's going to make you a better person and a better gym owner and everything. Go ahead.
It's true.
Foot stomp.
So I sat in there and I said, the first question I always ask is, do you feel like your child has progressed this season? I did this with 11 teams, 2 hip hop teams, 9 cheer teams. My tiny novice parent said, oh, yes, she has become a team player. I don't hear her name called as much. She is independent, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Really super cute answers. I wish I could have recorded it. Is like marketing for tiny novice. Every other team, 11 teams, said their child's tumbling was the number 1 thing that determined if they felt like they were progressing. Because I would listen to the answers. They would say yes or no. My child's, I think she's progressing, or like, yeah, she's progressed a little, or like, holy cow, she's progressed so much. And my follow-up question was, what does progression look like to you? And 10 different teams said tumbling. So, guys, what they're often saying is, she didn't progress enough this year, and by progression, I mean tumbling. Okay? So my child didn't progress enough in their tumbling. The second thing, and sometimes this is in conjunction, is all of her friends are moving up and she's not ready to move up, and I kind of know that. So I'm going to hold her back. We're just going to do tumbling for the sake of her pride.
I'm going to be the bad guy. Yeah.
Yep. For the sake of her pride, we're just going to do tumbling, and then she'll catch up to all of her friends the following year. The problem is, what happens while all the friends are on the cheer team and this kid's over in rec tumbling? These kids are building bonds. These kids are getting more resilient. These kids are getting more performance experience, all that other stuff. And this kid's getting tumbling skills. Just a teeny tiny portion of what they need in All-Star. So get to the root. If you have a parent saying that, get to the root of it. Figure out what are they actually trying to accomplish by doing that. Because you can solve that. Hey, why don't you do cheer this season, but why don't we also get private lessons so you can get caught up in a few things along the way?
But it could be dad's not on board, but you can do tumbling without being on a cheer team.
Oh, I suppose that could be it.
Or finances might be tough. So
also, yeah, that one came across my mind too.
For sure.
It's possible, but you have to get to the root of it so you can help solve.
Okay, somebody said a few things here. Curtis is watching. How diddly do? How diddly do? How diddly do? Totally late. I'm having
different
to
every week.
Yes. April said they are a must.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're talking about the coffee and conversation. Anna said, I haven't had this issue, but I have kids leave my program and come back the following season because they put on performance teams at big gyms. I put all the beginners or a novice on prep teams or on novice or prep teams. Lauren says, Danielle, how do we find out more about how to run a coffee and conversation and what to talk about? Is there a system or information for this?
Yes, Lauren, you're in the academy, so I will send you that. It'll be tomorrow. Send me a message so I don't forget, but it'll be tomorrow because I go to bed like right after this.
Well, Letitia is asking the same question. Are these group sessions or individual? That's a good one.
So it's a group session. It's a focus group. What Lauren will get access to is the full system of how to do coffee and conversation and all of the questions that I ask. So that's our academy members get that. As far as what it is, they're essentially focus groups. I do them with each team. If I have a team that's really large, I will break them up into different groups because I don't like a lot of people in each group. If you can get like 7 or 8 in each group, then you are guaranteed that the people who are normally going to be quieter and sit in the back will actually talk. You ask them a series of very open-ended questions about the season, and you get great feedback. At the end of that, we then take all the notes that I take. I literally do not reply back about anything except the final question of the night, which is what questions do you have for me? And at that time, I learn a couple things. What do I need to educate everybody else on? What do I need to make sure is super clear for tryouts? Because usually it's a question regarding future tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I compile all of the notes for all the coffee and conversations that I did. We go through and I kind of highlight like these were major points that came up on a couple different teams. And then at the end of the tryout meeting, every year I do informational tryout meeting. The very last 2 slides are returning athletes. Like it'll say returning athletes. Here are the changes for next season. At that time, I tell everybody, hey, if you are new to this season, you are free to go. At this time, you're also welcome to stay. If you don't really know the difference between what we did last year versus what we're going to do this year. But if you want to hear what some of the parent feedback was, you can hear that, and then what changes we intend to make for next season. And the very last slide of that informational meeting is always, here are the changes for next season. So,
guys, do you know what that does? It makes people feel like they have buy-in.
Like they've been heard.
They've been heard. They have buy-in to the program. You're actually listening, and you're making changes based on on the conversation and their ideas, and that is huge in a program like this. So remember that it's really tough because sometimes you're going to get some tough love during that. Like you'll get stuff in there, all kinds of stuff about maybe the coach. We didn't feel like the coach was really pushing our kids enough this year. Just all kinds of things that could personally hurt you. Just makes you feel bad.
Especially if you're the coach.
Especially if you're the coach. But
hey, they gave me feedback, and I coached 3 teams this year, and one of them I'm the only adult coach. I've got a junior coach that I'm like training up,
which is pretty young. Yeah.
Yeah, she's 14, and So this year, one of the pieces of feedback that I had to accept, I'm like, hey, I'm walking into this. I want the feedback. Was our practices in the summer weren't really as consistent as we would have liked. And I was like, yep. I went to the Bahamas. I did the Next Gen conference. I went to Dream Camp. I did, like, we were gone a lot last summer. And I had to reschedule practices. I had to get subs to fill in for me. I had to do all those things because I can't cancel a whole summer of practice. So those parents were totally right. And walking out of that, one of the action items was like, Danielle can't coach by herself because I'm gone too much.
We need another adult on that.
I need to have another adult on my teams. And like, I don't have any pride about it. It actually will be very freeing this year to know that like whatever adult I coach with understands I'm going to be gone a lot. I did want to say one other thing. By doing that and giving them like, hey, here are the things that are changing for this season, this upcoming season. I had a parent who is new to our program this year, who is coming from another gym. And she ended up commenting afterwards that she really liked that we were listening to the parents and making changes based off of that. Now, what kind of changes are we making, you ask? We're readjusting how some of the tumbling classes will be scheduled so that it's more convenient. We're not going to do practice wear next year. We're going to do practice tank tops, because kids outgrew their practice wear within a couple months. I'm going to do a big and a little program. We're going to change the way we do our team reps a little bit. Like, nothing is earth shattering here. Nothing is like breaking the bank. It's all just things that we can improve on, that when you say these are positive changes, and I always say it the same way. Hey, based off of the coffee and conversation, first of all, I appreciate all of your feedback.
Yep.
Based off of that feedback, here are the 4 changes that we're making to the upcoming season. Boom, 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 boom.
And they're cool. Like, the neatest thing about it is you're listening to your customers and you're adjusting your business, modifying and moving into the future, because now we're going into next season. And these are the modifications that we're making. Next season, we'll make a few more modifications. And you just continue to do that, but you stay relevant with your customers. It's the businesses out there that are not staying relevant. They're not listening to their customers are the ones that move on, and they die. They get complacent, and they don't care anymore. And they're pretty soon they're not growing, and people are not showing up there. So
on a secret, like kind of strategical note, that is the number one reason that my returning parents go to the informational meeting. Because otherwise there's like nothing in there that they won't find in the packet, and they all know that. But by getting them in that meeting, it creates this like really exciting social pressure of like, oh my gosh, look at all these people trying out for next season. And like, I'm a small program still. I'm a much bigger program now, but even when I had 28 kids, that's exactly what I did. Right? And I did it in such a way that like returning people had to come, so that it made it feel more full to the new people that were coming in. I don't have 300 all-stars with like 60 new kids every year, right? This next year, like we have 160 all-star kids now. We didn't ever before, but like we have them now, but I still only had like 5 or 6 new people at that meeting. How awkward would that have been with just 5 or 6 new people?
Oh yeah. A few questions here.
Yep.
So a little strategy built into that, by the way, if you see it. April says, we do report cards as individual meetings. These are coming up for me. Sometimes they're super easy conversations, and sometimes they're not. But we go in with a plan to help the athletes move forward, and the parents appreciate that.
So let me say something on that really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know April. So April's not saying do that in lieu of coffee and conversation.
Right.
She does both. So she did the coffee and conversation, kind of got the feedback. Now she's taking the next step, which is like athlete report cards, and they're now getting one-on-one with these parents and kids saying, okay, here's where we're at for your child this season. So just to clarify that.
Yeah. The next one is Letitia is saying, how do I learn more about the Academy membership?
Well, ma'am, you just need to book a call with Justin.
And where at?
I will comment it right here while Justin reads the next one.
And Curtis is replying saying, he said the same thing. Contact Justin Johnson. He'll get you all squared away. Yes.
It's true.
Yes. So you'll book a call on the website that she's putting down, and then we'll chat about it. And I'll kind of walk you through everything that's involved. April says, yes, both are necessary. Report card and
Give me
Coffee
your
and
phone.
Conversation.
I just posted it in the wrong group. My bad.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, so both of those I think are really important to make sure that you're kind of hitting both angles of like, hey, this is, we want your feedback, but also, there we go. I'm a terrible multitasker.
Yeah.
We want your feedback, but then step 2, here's the progression of how your child has done.
Here's some feedback for you.
One change, here's one of my 4, I think, that we're doing for this upcoming season. We're actually videoing tryouts, and we are making sure every kid has videos on file at the beginning of the season, like within the first week of the new season, of their jumps, their tumbling, passes at that level, stuff like that. And I'm just going to upload them to a Google Drive, and halfway through the season when we do our mid-season progress reports, which I call it mid-season, but we always do them in January, February, we're going to watch that video back in comparison to how they're doing it now. Because one of the comments we got was that progression is based off of tumbling, and that's just not true. Like, your child maybe couldn't even hold a prep at the beginning of the season, and now they're doing extensions and single leg stunts and all these different things, and the parents are kind of forgetting, like, oh yeah, that's progression also. Look how strong she is. Look how flexible she is. I've even thought about doing like the PE ones, like those little presidential physical fitness ones, like some sort of strength and flexibility test at the beginning of the season and the end of the season. I actually think that would do well.
That's true. Tammy had asked earlier, can we get an outline of how you run a coffee and conversation? But I think, Tammy, she kind of explained a lot of it, so I think that's pretty much an outline of.
Tammy's the one I told you I was sitting next to at Varsity U last year, and I like just glance over at the lady next to me, and you were like writing in your book, so I don't know why. I like glance down and I see Shelly's name and phone number. I'm like, this is so weird.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. yeah.
Tammy, book a call with Justin. He can give you more info.
Yeah. April says, I love that. We did that starting this current season. I'm talking to Danielle. I'm going to do that with our rec training team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but all I need is a junior coach to stand there and video all of it with a little checklist and then upload it to a Dropbox or Google Drive folder.
You want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Conference.
So, guys, we just gave you 5 ways to help read between the lines and determine what your customers actually want. It's going to be a lot about listening and asking questions.
You want to get to the root.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people cover stuff up and they'll just tell you, they'll ask this passive thing up here, but down deep inside, they're actually asking a different question. So
yeah. So guys, 2 things. If you like these Fireside Chats, if you like the podcasts that Next Gen is doing, if you like the blogs, I want you to know, first of all, this is just a teeny tiny portion of what we do in the Next Gen Academy. This is the free content we're providing. Imagine if this content is free, how great the content in the Academy might be. Where we get to work one-on-one with gym owners. I can tell you April was on here. I know a lot about April's gym. A lot about her gym. Because we've been working together since August. So there's, imagine if you have a coach who sees something and is thinking about you, like, in fact, I got off the call with...
She does this all the time.
I got off the call with April earlier. We were walking over to the gym for our meeting, and 5 minutes later, I was like, she needs to do this.
Yes.
And so I messaged her with a question. Hey, are you already doing this? I think it will help with that issue you were asking about. One, the Academy can totally help you do all of that. Number 2, the Next Gen Conference is coming up, and this is the number 1 conference this summer. I say that, but like genuinely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the biggest conference for teaching skills, business, leadership. There are classes for your managers, owners, coaches, front desk. Like, there is not a conference in the industry for your front desk people, but they are some of the most important people at the gym because they're the first people that are seen.
And this is the coolest thing. If you bring all of those staff with you, you're bringing your coaches, your front desk, your managers, and obviously you, but we have all of our staff are going to be there as well. So as a matter of fact, our manager is teaching some courses.
Yeah, our manager will be there. Our Lexi, she's got a weird job title, but birthday parties, events, kids camp, before and after school program, summer camp. Our competitive program director, our recreational program director, 2 of our cheer coaches, and then 2 coaches who coach a little bit of cheer, a little bit of tumbling, and then they're just graduating high school this year.
But Shelly's going to have a lot of her staff there as well. It's really, really neat that at a conference like this, you can actually have some of your staff being taught by some of our staff. Like, what do you do all day? What is your jobs? How do you do it at your gym? And it's just, when they come back on fire from a conference like this, ready to start implementing and be like, hey, here's what I learned. And it's just awesome when you can get that whole team all moving in the same direction without you having to be like, hey, I want you to do this and I want you to do this. It's really hard to come back from a conference like this and then just be pushing. But when everybody's pushing in the same direction, think how fast that gym can grow and things can happen. It's incredible.
So not only will the next gen staff be teaching, but we've got some guest speakers: Adam Forte from Forte Spirit Solutions, Ramel Asuna from World Cup, and then Jason Larkins. I mean, he's an American Cheer, but also the Let's Talk Cheer podcast. That is one of my favorite podcasts, along with the next gen one. And
great stuff.
So many good people speaking.
Yep.
Super affordable. The tickets start at $209 for Academy members, and I think it's $249 for non-Academy.
Yep.
And the rooms, we actually just looked at the room blocks so that we could start booking them for everybody in my gym. And I think it's $150 a night, and it's in Dallas.
Yep.
So
really nice place.
Yeah.
We have a lot of sponsors as well that are going to be there. And guys, when we bring in sponsors, we don't just, bring in just anybody. These are people that we actually vet, that we use their products, their services, and we want to make sure that anybody that we're endorsing or sending out to you guys to use, that you can trust, and they'll give you a good product and they'll treat you well. So all of these. And do you have a little run on the sponsors? Because that would be really good.
Yeah, we actually, guys, we're super different than most of the conferences where you kind of walk through the vendor hall and you're like, okay, don't talk to me, but do you have free stuff? Because if you do, I'll take your free stuff, but then don't talk to me.
You got some swag, I'll take your pen.
Fine.
No eye contact. Please, no eye contact.
Fine, but I'm going to write down a fake email. No, our sponsors are super different. Our goal is develop relationships. Don't focus on selling your product, but focus on relationships, because when somebody needs you, or they need a new class management software, they need equipment,
yes,
you're going to be the first people that they come to, but they've got to learn about you in a way that is super not salesy and relationship building. So this year, I actually think we have to update this a little bit.
Yeah.
This year we have Cheer Sounds, CS Athletics, Jackrabbit, iClass, Jerry Hughes Photography, Tumble Track, Forte Spirit Solutions, Dream Camps, Pop Drops, Teresa Colster CPA. She's from Warrensburg, but she knows cheer gyms, which is kind of a rare find.
All around.
And then Gym Lawyers. Matt Becker is amazing, if you've heard him on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we have a whole bunch of people, and they are people we actually use. I don't think you can only use Jackrabbit or iClass, but there are those of us in Next Gen who use one or the other for sure. Every other one on here.
And this is the coolest thing about some of these sponsors, and the reason that we really push them and want them to come to our conferences is these people can save you money.
Yeah.
They can make you money.
Yeah.
Not only just save, but they can make you money. Some of these sponsors here, you will actually come to your gym, do a service, and then pay you.
Yeah.
For showing up. It's like genius.
Also,
I'm just throwing it out.
They can save your butt, because
yes,
my hip hop teams don't usually compete USASF, and the events we compete don't require us to have the licensing for the music. However, we just happened to, by accident, win All-Star Worlds bids for hip hop. And so we were like, let's go to All-Star Worlds. And all the parents were excited, and we released it to the teams. And next thing you know, I'm standing in warm-ups at the next competition. I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't have licensed music. And I sent an email to Cheer Sounds, and I think within a week, I had the closest possible mix to my current routine, and it was licensed. That's amazing. That's incredible service. So,
La Portia said, "I'm so pumped about conference." She said, "Danielle, please have that shirt that you're wearing for sale at conference."
It's Jason Larkins, but I will tell him to bring some.
Yes, I think he would actually not have a problem with that.
No, I'm sure he'd love that.
Curtis said probably from the podcast. And then April said Becca is coming with me to Dallas.
We've never met Becca.
Yes, it will be her first NG conference. I'm so excited.
She's the elusive partner. I don't even know if she exists because I've never met her. Make sure she watches that part of this.
But we have a really good time at conference, and it's one of those networking things too. If you haven't been to a conference like this, we really try to break the ice. We don't literally break ice, but we try to break the ice and have everybody meet. And by the time you leave, you need to be networking at these places because the more you network at things like this, and you get to know other people, especially that are just moving in the right direction with their businesses and trying to grow them, and you are going to help yourself out substantially.
And unlike Fireside Chat,
I did not say
they
that
give
well
the
at all.
Johnsons a time limit. If you were in Louisville with us last year, you know that no one was there to give us a time limit, and the whole conference ran over.
The whole thing did.
And then it was poor Melanie's only turn to speak, and I was like, "Come on, Mel, get us back on track."
You have 30 minutes to talk less.
Oh,
20
I was
minutes.
so rude.
But anyways.
So,
all right.
It's going to be great. Okay?
When is it, Danielle? Dallas.
Why are you putting me on the spot like that?
23rd, 24th, and 25th. Actually, the 23rd is the night of
social hour.
But 24th and 25th is the conference.
Yes.
2 days.
Yes.
3 tracks going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. 3 tracks
at
least.
The same I think time. Shelly is trying to do a 4th, actually.
It's filling up, folks. It is awesome. It's a great venue.
This is the fastest we've ever had a conference fill up, so yes. Please don't wait.
Yep.
To book your stuff. This is
It's awesome.
That's how I can tell you I know it will be the biggest and most exciting yet.
All right.
Okay, you guys, thanks so much for joining us. If you're on the East Coast, this was a super late one. If you're in Australia, it's perfect time to watch.
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Chilling.
So, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much. And we will see you next week where we'll probably be talking about how to win over the dads.
Really?
See you then.
See ya.